Okay, is module 3 visible for you?
Yes, sir.
Slide has come on your screens.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anyway, we'll start. Okay. Um, yeah. So this is what we started yesterday, module 3. So LEFM approach. So basically, we'll scroll through what we learned. Okay, in the previous class. So fatigue is will always begin with a crack at a crack. Okay, and then all structural members will contain discontinuities, so which can range from less than 0.25 mm. Then fatigue cracks generally start at a notch. So what is the definition of a notch? Is that in general terms, it is used to represent any geometric contour which increases local stress. Okay. So in general, he uses notch even for a hole, groove, stepped shaft, and all those things. They use the term what is called as notch. Is that okay? So it's a generic term to represent geometric contour that will have high localized stress. That means they are the points where stress risers are present. Okay, this is what we learned, and then fatigue cracks generally start at a notch, that is at a geometric contour or a discontinuity like fillet, notches, holes, the stepped shafts, and so on. Okay, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
so the slide is visible to you all.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then we learnt about two examples. One is of World War II tanker failure, and then the Comet aeroplane failure, which essentially had sharp corners where the cracks were present, and eventually it failed because the plane is subjected to pressure variation during every landing and takeoff. Okay, this is what we learned. And then the three stages of fatigue failure, we learned about crack initiation, propagation, and sudden fracture. And then for ductile materials and brittle materials, we saw there is a presence of slip bands in localized plastic yielding region, which causes slip bands. Essentially, slip bands are the regions of intense deformation due to shear motion. So that's what we learned. And then in brittle materials, the brittle materials don't yield, so they skip the initiation stage. Okay, they straight away get into propagation and finally failure. So this is what is the process of fatigue in brittle materials. This is what we learned. Then crack propagation stage. This we learned a bit. The stress cycles, okay, to a compressive stress regime, the crack closes. When this is a tensile load, if you apply compressive load, then the crack will try to close. Okay, the yielding momentarily ceases and the crack again becomes sharp, but now at its longer dimension. Okay, this is okay how the crack propagation starts. So the crack growth is due to tensile strength. Okay, because during compressive stress the crack will try to close, okay, thereby arresting the yielding. So therefore the crack growth is due to tensile stress, and crack grows along planes normal to the maximum tensile stress. Okay, this for this reason that fatigue failure are considered to be due to tensile stress. Again, we saw in the previous modules the comparison between mean compression and mean tensile stress and what number of cycles they are going to fail. Okay. Next, then we learned that the crack propagation growth rate is so small. So 10 power minus 8 is 0.00000001 inch per cycle. Okay, it is so small is the growth rate, so therefore it takes so many number of cycles for the crack to propagate in a larger way. Is that okay? So this is the crack propagation growth rate, 10 power minus 8 to 10 power minus 4 inch per cycle. 10 power minus 4 is 0.0001 inch per cycle, correct? Okay, this is what we learned in crack propagation growth rate. Yeah, coming to fracture mechanics. So far what we learned is fatigue requires a crack. So crack nucleation, crack propagation are the stages. Now, in the fracture mechanics approach, it will assume that there is going to be presence of a crack. So how those defects will come into picture is Materials in general will have defects like cracks, voids, inclusions, and these will act as stress risers. That is, they are like notches. All materials are considered to contain micro cracks, so which cannot be seen in naked eye. Okay, it will be so small that it cannot be visible. So such type of micro cracks will be present in the materials, which can be because of voids, inclusions, notches, and so on. These small defects, whose size and distribution are dependent upon material and its processing. So, what is the size of such cracks or defects depends upon how you manufacture. So, if your casting has got lot of presence of air, then you will have lot many poracities, and because of large poracities and number of poracities, then they act as a stress risers, and eventually failure will occur in a shorter span of time or in less number of cycles. So these defects are maybe due to non-metallic inclusions. It can be weld defects, it can be grinding cracks, that is cracks that are developed during grinding operation. Okay, so because of abrasion between grinding wheel and the material, there can be formation of very minute micro cracks. Okay, then quench cracks. So what is quenching? Anybody has got any idea of quenching?
Hardening process.
Yeah, it is one of the hardening process where after treatment it will be either quenched in water or oil. Okay. So during quenching, if you have sudden cooling, there can be chances of developing of minor or micro cracks. Then surface slabs. So these are all the defects which can be present due to weld defects, grinding cracks, reasons for cracks to present. Okay. Then scratches or gouges in the surface due to mishandling can also serve as incipient cracks. So scratches, that is when you handle materials, okay. So there can be presence of scratches or grooves. Gouges are nothing but formation of grooves. This can occur due to mishandling, okay. That is during manufacturing of gears or crankshafts and so on. They have to be handled carefully, okay, because before heat treatment, if you handle the gears, for example, if you handle throwing here and there, what will happen? There can be presence of scratches in soft condition itself. So these scratches or grooves can become the sources for cracks, development of cracks. So therefore these are all the reasons where because of which the cracks can form. One is because of voids and inclusions, then can be because of the size and distribution, small defects, okay, and it depends on material and its processing. It can happen because of weld defects, grinding cracks, quench cracks, surface slabs, and so on, or because of scratches or grooves in the surface due to mishandling. So these are all the reasons for the presence of cracks. Next. Now, there can be some situations wherein such micro cracks during manufacturing can be avoided, but the cracks can develop spontaneously in service. That also can happen due to damage or material flaws, and they are more difficult to predict and account for. So, what will happen if you don't handle the components properly during service? So, if you throw here and there, throw the ball bearing, throw the gears, throw the crankshaft on the floor, handle it very horribly, then because of such mishandling during service, there can be a presence of gouges or scratches, which eventually lead to crack formation and crack propagation. Okay, so these are the difficult to predict. So therefore, the components during assembly or during service have to be handled more carefully. Okay, next. The presence of sharp crack in a stress field would create stress concentration, and that theoretically approaches infinity. Okay, now what you do, please note down the sketch. So the stress concentration factor Kt is given by 1 plus 2 into A by C. A is, so this is the presence of a notch in the plate. This is in the form of an ellipse. This is C and this is A. subjected to tensile loading. Okay, KT stands for stress concentration factor. Okay, so please note down these two sketches in your notebook first, and note down this equation. KT is equal to 1 plus 2 into A by C. Please note down these two sketches. This is C by A, okay? In the diagram, what you see is C by A here on x-axis, and this is KT on y-axis. This is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 up to 10, and this is the value of A, this is value of C. And note down this equation for stress concentration. This is C by A here. This is C of the ellipse. This is A of the ellipse. Larger diameter, smaller. Minor diameter is C and major diameter is A. Finished noting down?
Yes, sir.
Shall we go to the next slide? Yeah? Shall we go to the next slide?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, so you have the stress concentration equation given by 1 plus 2 into A by C. When does the stress concentration approaches zero? I mean infinity? When you have value of C in the denominator, when it approaches zero, the stress concentration and thus stress would approach infinity. So when the stress approaches infinity, no material on earth can sustain such high stresses. Local yielding in case of ductile materials, local microstructure in case of brittle materials will occur at crack tip. If the stresses are high enough at the tip of a crack of sufficient size, sudden brittle-like fracture can result. That means when you have a crack present in a sheet, okay, when the value of KT becomes infinity, this will become infinity when you have C being equal to approaching to zero. Okay, C approaching to zero, you will have KT to be infinity, and when KT is infinity, stresses also will be infinite. It will be very high. So because of very high stresses, no material can withstand such high stresses, and therefore the crack will suddenly lead to the failure of the component. Okay, this is what is the meaning of this equation. KT is equal to 1 plus 2 into A by C. So the science of fracture mechanics has been developed to explain and predict this sudden failure phenomena. Okay, so that is this. So it assumes there is a presence of crack already, and how it behaves. Okay, is what the fracture mechanics is all about. We know fatigue failure will occur because of crack nucleation and crack propagation. So therefore, the science of fracture mechanics assumes the presence of a crack in the component already and then predict its sudden failure phenomena. This is what is fracture mechanics. Is that okay? Could you understand what is fracture mechanics and how it got generated? What is fracture mechanics? Why fracture mechanics has come into picture? Okay, because the fatigue failure will occur because of crack nucleation and crack propagation. Okay, so therefore, in the study of fracture mechanics, assumes the presence of such cracks and then it will predict the sudden failure phenomena. That is what we study in the science of fracture mechanics. Could you agree now? You
Yes,
agree?
sir.
Now, please note down this last sentence, which is in italics. The science of fracture mechanics has been developed to explain and predict this sudden failure phenomenon. Why sudden failure will occur? Because as C approaches zero, the stress concentration will approach infinity, which induces high stresses which many materials cannot withstand, and there is going to be sudden brittle like fracture or failure. Okay, so the science of fracture mechanics assumes there is a presence of crack and predicts its sudden failure phenomenon. Okay, that is what the fracture mechanics is all about, because we are moving towards linear elastic fracture mechanics. So before we understand what is linear elastic fracture mechanics, we need to know what is fracture mechanics. That's why this is what this definition is very important. Please note down this sentence. The science of fracture mechanics has been developed to explain and predict this sudden failure phenomenon. Noted?
Yes, sir.
More number.
Yes, sir.
Please read the sentence.
The science of fracture mechanics has been developed to explain and predict this sudden failure phenomena.
Okay, fine. Sandesh,
Yes, sir.
just read through this equation and the entire sentence, please.
Kt is equal to 1 plus 2 into A by C. When the value of C approaches 0, the stress concentration and the stress approach infinity. No
Okay.
material can
Sustain.
sustain high such stresses.
Yeah.
Local yielding, local microstructure will occur
Yeah.
at crack tips.
Okay.
If the stresses are high enough at the tip of the crack
Yeah.
of sufficient
Sufficient
size,
size. Yeah.
sudden brittle like fracture can result.
Failure. Brittle like failure can result.
Result.
Okay. Okay. Are you all there? So there's going to be failure because when C approaches zero, stress concentration becomes infinity, which leads to high stresses. Then if the crack tip is of sufficient size and stress are high enough, then the failure of the component will take place. So the science of fracture mechanics will explain and predict this sudden failure phenomenon. Okay, that is what is the science of fracture mechanics is all about. You are there? Are you there?
Sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Now, So cracks, again, we have studied in the previous slides. Cracks commonly occur in welded structures, bridges, ships, aircrafts, land vehicles, pressure vessels. We take any component where there is a fabrication or processing, there is going to be presence of such micro cracks. So when cracks are discovered, an engineering judgment must be made. Okay, that means when you see the presence of a crack somewhere in the component, you need to make an engineering judgment. So what type of judgment you need to make? Say suppose you are using pressure vessels in the form of boilers, in the form of, one second. Okay, so if you are designing, or if you are a design engineer, or if you are in production, what will happen? Say suppose in aircraft, in landing gear, if you notice a crack, okay, if you notice a crack, right, you're all there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, a judgment must be made, okay, whether to repair or replace the flawed part, or repair the assembly, or to continue it in service for a further time subject to more frequent inspections. Okay, that is if you notice the presence of a crack in a component, so you should make a judgment whether to repair or replace the part, or to retire the assembly itself, or continue in service with frequent inspection, so that even if the crack grows by another 10 mm also, it is okay to continue. So that's how the judgment can be made. So that is what is done in fracture mechanics. So essentially what it do is, it will predict the failure phenomena, and then when there is a crack present in a component, normally why it is done? Can anyone throw some light on this? Why do you take engineering judgment when cracks are discovered? Why these two activities are done, whether to replace or repair, or to retire the assembly, or continue in service for some more time? Why these two will come into picture? Can someone throw some light on that? Mithun, Sukrut? Yeah, tell something. Tell something. No problem. No problem. Tell me. You take reference of your bike
Sir,
or
it may
car.
depend on the crack.
Yeah?
It may depend on the crack structure, sir.
No. You just explain who is it, Mithun or Sukrut?
Sandesh, sir.
Sandesh. Mithun, you are there?
Yes, sir.
Read this sentence from the top. Cracks commonly start there.
Cracks commonly occur in welded structures, bridges, ships, aircraft, landed vehicles, pressure vessels,
Land
etc.
vehicles, not landed vehicles.
Okay.
Land vehicles are different, landed vehicles are different. Okay.
Land vehicles, pressure vessels, etc.
Okay.
When cracks are discovered, an
Hmm.
engineering judgment must be made
Okay, very good.
whether to repair or replace the flawed part.
Flawed means what, you know? What is
Cracked.
flawed part? Yeah?
Cracked.
No, it is a defective part or cracked part. Okay, next.
Retire the assembly or to continue it in service for a further time subject to more frequent inspection.
Okay. Do you have a bike with you, Mithun?
No, sir.
You have car at your home?
No, sir.
You had bicycle?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What did you do with bicycle when there was a tire puncture, or when there was a flat tire? What did you do?
Replace.
Replace or put puncture? If air is gone, what did you do?
Puncture. Go
You
to the
put
shop.
go to shop and put puncture for what? Tire or tube?
Tube, sir.
Tube. How many times did you do that?
Sir.
How many times did you put puncture for the tube of the bicycle before you replaced it with new tire, new tube?
3 or 4 times.
3 or 4 times, correct? So
Yes, sir.
you relate this to your tube puncturing. You understand my point?
Yes, sir.
So when you noticed the presence of a hole in your cycle tube, what did you do initially? You made a judgment to repair, correct?
Yes, sir.
That is by applying puncture, taking it to puncture shop and put that is close the puncture, okay, close the hole, correct? And then use it, okay.
Yes.
If there were multiple places where there was puncture in the tube, what you would have done? You would have replaced it by a new tube, correct?
Yes, sir.
Are you there? Now,
Yes, sir.
say suppose if the rim of your bicycle gets bent, okay? So you have to make a judgment whether to repair the entire assembly itself or still start cycling again and again till the plain time when you cannot further move the bicycle at all. So till such time you can go and keep using the cycle, correct? Got
Yes,
my
sir.
point?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is what is the presence of cracks and engineering judgment whether to repair or replace. Others, could you understand with this example?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So like that, so what we took is a simple bicycle tube puncturing aspect. Like that, in ships, aircrafts and all, there can be presence of such small cracks. Okay. So replacing component tube is okay. You paid maybe how much you paid, Mithun, for your puncture repairing?
Sir, 5 rupees.
5 rupees, right? So you are paying 5 rupees for repairing the puncture in a tube of a bicycle. But when you come to aircrafts, you know what is the cost of a Rafale plane that we have purchased, India has purchased? Each Rafale cost is how much? Any idea? General knowledge. These things you should be knowing. The cost of such planes are almost around 1,500 crores per plane. Okay, right? Then cost of regular commercial aircraft is still higher. So when you have such costly aircraft with so much costly components, they try to enhance or use the components to the maximum extent. So even if there is a presence of small crack, they will make a judgment whether to keep the component, repair the component, or run it for some more times, okay, with frequent inspections. That's what they do in aircraft or any other costly components or products. You agree with me? Are you there?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
In this part? Or one more example is they don't want to. So what they do normally is, say aeroplane tires have to be replaced every 10 or 12 landings. They'll replace irrespective of whether the tires are good or bad or torn, whatever. They replace the tires every 10 landings with a new tires. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So sometimes the judgment they can make is they'll inspect the tire, they will inspect the tires, check, and then again go for 2 more landings. Again, they do inspection of the tires, again allow it for go for another 2 landings before they replace the tires. Is that okay? So this is what is all about that is studied in fracture mechanics. So when cracks are discovered, engineering judgment must be made whether to repair or replace the flawed part. So retire the assembly or continue in service for some more time with frequent inspections. Could you agree now? Could you agree what is fracture mechanics basis is?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now we will come to fracture mechanics theory. So as I said earlier, fracture mechanics presumes, presumes is it will assume well before, right? So presumes the presence of a crack, right? So the stress rate in the region of crack may be either plane stress or it is plane strain. So what is plane stress? What is plane stress? Anybody? Any idea? You studied finite element methods. What is plane stress? Sandesh, Monambal, Sukrut. What is plane stress? Just read it as two English words and let me know.
Stresses which are acting on a principal plane.
No, it is not. It is stress acting on a plane. That's all. What is a plane? What is a plane? What is plane?
Two dimension.
Yeah, exactly. What is solid?
3D.
Okay, it's a three-dimensional object. Plane is a two-dimensional object. That is, it has got length and breadth with a negligible thickness. Correct? So the stress acting on a plane is called plane stress. Okay, got it? More number. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Sukrut, could you understand? Sukrut, you are there? Okay. Anyway, if the zone of yielding around the crack is small compared to dimensions of the part, then linear elastic fracture mechanics theory is applicable. Okay. So we learnt about fracture mechanics. Now we are moving towards linear elastic fracture mechanics. So when do we have linear elastic fracture mechanics is that when the plate is large enough, so large and crack is so small comparatively, then what will happen? The LEFM or the material is behaving according to Hooke's law. That is LEFM assumes that the material will behave according to Hooke's law. What is Hooke's law? It is stress is proportional to strain within elastic limits. So that is Hooke's law. So the LEFM assumes that the material will behave as per Hooke's law. So come to this definition again. When the crack is small compared to the dimensions of the part, then LEFM is applicable. So LEFM, linear elastic. Please remember this elastic. Elastic is what? When the material regains its original shape and size upon removal of what? Upon removal of
Load.
load. Okay, so that is elastic. So linear elastic fracture mechanics works according to Hooke's law. Okay, so fracture mechanics assumes the presence of a crack. Okay, linear elastic fracture mechanics theory is applicable and it assumes that the material will behave according to Hooke's law. Is that okay? So that is what is called as linear elastic fracture mechanics. So essentially fracture mechanics assumes the presence of crack. Linear elastic fracture mechanics assumes that material will behave as per Hooke's law, that is stress is proportional to strain within elastic limits. You got my point now? You understood?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now what you do is note down the first sentence. Note down the third italics and note down the last point also. Note down, leave out the second one. First, third, and fourth sentences, please note down in your notebook. What about the Sukrut? Why he has left? Hmm? What about others? Hmm?
Dhanush can't log in, sir. He's
Yeah?
telling.
Yeah?
Dhanush can't come in, sir. He's telling it's not timeout, timeout. It is telling.
Oh, is it? Oh, I should have given admit maybe that time, or I don't know what it is. Hmm. Why this fellow Sukrut has left? He may say internet problem. Note it down. Note it down.
No, sir. Still.
Note it down, huh?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
More number.
Yes, sir.
Read the first sentence, more number.
Fracture mechanics presumes
Pre-assumes Allah. It is presumes.
sorry,
Yeah.
presumes the presence of a crack.
Okay. Sandesh,
Yes, sir.
third sentence, please.
If the zone of yielding around the crack is small compared to the dimension of the part, then linear
Okay.
elastic fracture mechanism theory is applicable.
Okay, that means when the dimension, when the plate is large, okay, its length and breadth is very, very large compared to the zone around the zone of yielding around the crack. Okay, it is very small compared to the dimensions of the part. Then LEFM theory is what?
Applicable.
LEFM theory is applicable. Mithun, no? Mithun is there, no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Mithun, the third last sentence.
LEFM assumes that the bulk of a material is behaving according to the Hooke's
Bulk
law.
of A illa, bulk of material.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Please read again.
Linear elastic fracture mechanics assumes that
Ah,
the bulk of material is behaving according to Hooke's law.
okay. Okay. So presence how it presumes presence of a crack. If the zone of yielding around the crack is very small compared to the dimensions of the part, LEFM is applicable, and LEFM assumes that the material behaves as per Hooke's law. These are all the three conditions of linear elastic fracture mechanics. Okay. Crack is very, 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 very small compared to length and breadth of the component, and LEFM assumes material behaves as per Hooke's law, and then fracture mechanics itself assumes the presence of a crack even before the use of the component. Correct? You agree with me now? What is fracture mechanics theory is all about?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Now, please note down these two sketches. There's a crack. Okay, this is A, this is 2A, and the plate width is 2B, 2A, and then here is the crack tip. You have X and Y coordinates, R and theta coordinates. This is crack tip. Please note down these two sketches clearly in your notebook. This is 2A. It is subjected to tensile load. This is 2B. And from the edge of the plate to center of the crack is B. From crack tip to center of the crack, it is distance A. This is the crack. This is crack tip. Finished, huh?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now come back to what we learned today. So essentially, fatigue is all about crack nucleation, crack propagation, and sudden failure. And crack propagation growth can be from 10 power minus 8 to 10 power minus 4 inch per cycle. Okay. And then fracture mechanics. So basically, all the materials will have defects such as cracks, voids, inclusions, which could serve as stress risers. They are the zones of high stress concentration. Okay. So all materials are considered to contain micro cracks, which are too small to be seen with the naked eye. These small defects whose size and distribution are depending upon the material and its processing. So if the processing is very negligent, then the defects can be larger in size. Okay. And then if the processing is very bad, then distribution of such defects also can be large. So these defects may be due to non-metallic inclusions. It can be because of welding defects. It can be because of grinding cracks or cracks developed during grinding operation, or cracks that are initiated, okay, during quenching operation, okay, and then scratches or grooves in the surface due to mishandling in the can also serve as incipient cracks. So that means these are all the sources of the cracks. And also during service, there can be sudden development of a crack which may be difficult to predict and account for. Okay, this may happen because of damage due to mishandling of the component. Next, so the presence of sharp crack in a stress field creates stress concentration. Okay, so this is what we have learned in our design of machine elements 1. Stress concentration factor is equal to sigma max divided by sigma nominal. Correct? That is maximum stress by nominal stress is stress concentration factor. So it is a factor which is greater than 1. When you multiply it by sigma nominal, then what you get is maximum stress. So the presence of sharp crack in a stress field creates stress concentration, that is concentration of stress. And going by the equation of stress concentration, that is essentially 1 plus 2 into A by C, As the value of C approaches 0, the stress concentration becomes infinite. Once the stress concentration is that is concentration of stresses becomes infinite, then it is subjected to very high stresses. Okay, such high stresses are so high enough at the tip of a crack, which lead to sudden brittle-like failure. Okay, right. So the science of fracture mechanics is developed to explain and predict this sudden failure phenomenon. So that is what is fracture mechanics is all about. Next, again, cracks can occur because in welded structures, bridges, aircrafts, land vehicles, pressure vessels, and so on. So when cracks are discovered, as an engineer, we need to make a judgment whether to repair or replace the defective part, or repair the assembly, or to continuement has to be. Fracture mechanics theory presumes the presence of a crack. So the stress state in the region of the crack may be plane strain or plane stress. If the zone of yielding around the crack is small compared to the dimensions of the part, then LEFM approach is applicable. So LEFM assumes that the large amount of material will behave as per Hooke's law. So this is the initial thing about linear elastic fracture mechanics. So we learned about what is fracture mechanics and when the linear elastic fracture mechanics theory is applicable. Okay, and then we also learned that the linear elastic fracture mechanics assumes or presumes, or it will consider the material to be behaving as per Hooke's law. Okay, so this is what we learned today. Tomorrow, what we are going to learn is modes of crack displacement. So you have three modes: mode 1, mode 2, mode 3 types of displacement. And then we are going to learn a little more about stress intensity factor K. Then we are going to learn about the same stress intensity factor and fundamentals of LEFM and applications to fatigue crack growth. So this is what we are going to learn tomorrow morning 8:30. Is that okay? Till such time, please go through the video again, learn, and then come for class. Don't forget again and again what is fracture, crack nucleation, crack propagation, and all. What are the reasons for crack formation? So these can be the reasons for crack formation and so on. Please go through before you come for tomorrow's class. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Is it fine?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Tomorrow 8:30 is the class. As the link at 8:25, you join for the class at 8:30. Tell others to join, otherwise it's going to be difficult. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir.
Okay, then have a good day. Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Yeah.
sir.
Bye, sir.